Hi, this is Anna Imagination with the Healing Garden, and welcome to this podcast is not a conspiracy. I just watched this YouTube video and the link is down below if you want to watch the video to which I am referring. It is She Destroys Gender Ideology in 5 Minutes. And she's a psychiatrist. So the science she gave was extraordinary. And I deeply admire what she said about science and a few of the points that she brought up. And one of the things she quoted that I'm now quoting here was, "We are building the plane while we are flying it," in reference to the transgender surgeries that is occurring in the United States and for the transgender community at this time. One of the other things she said that I really loved was that social and medical intervention, we're going to call that interference in physics, and the current narrative assigns gender at birth. And she said, according to science, it is established at conception. Furthermore, she says, words mislead. Beautifully said. Words direct ethically or they mislead. This is why word usage is just so fucking important. And I'm going to say again for the millionth time that the word and logic are synonymous when you compare the definition of Greek and Latin. The two words literally mean the same thing, word and logic. When you refer to somebody's logic, you are referring to their words. When you use a word, you are adding to your logic. When you use the wrong word, you are fucking with your logic. Stupid people don't know this, which is why stupid people are fucked up, is because they are taking on the wrong words that fuck with their logical health. And then they have misunderstanding and contradiction and confusion because they are using the wrong words. Words are logic. Before we do anything in logic, the very first rule of logic is define the word. Because in logic, we understand the importance and the weight of every single word used, as this woman in this video points out. And what I walked away from with this video was a realization that there is very much I know about the schism, and I talk a lot about the schism that's occurring. And what I realized that it's really science versus, I'm going to use the words true science versus the world. And the reason why I want to clarify true science is because there's a lot of people who claim to be scientists who aren't using science. We see this with psychologists. Now, this woman was a psychiatrist who used true science. And we have a lot of, I remember this one particular case I saw, it was the dumbest bullshit I'd ever seen. It was a scientist, but he was also a man of faith. And he used science and manipulated science with piss poor fucking logic to prove his faith. It was the most dumbest, illogical. He was trying to use science to prove that the Red Sea was and could be divided with a force full of wind. So he took out a leaf blower and he had a pool of water. I'm going to tell you right now that this man had a doctorate's degree in science, and he used the leaf blower on the pool of water to divide the water. And he said, this leaf blower represents the winds from the seas that God sent down, and the water represents the Red Sea, and it did part the water. Therefore, God did part the Red Seas in the Bible. And it was like, okay, you proved that a leaf blower can part water, but that wasn't the debate. That wasn't even the discussion. The question was, did God do it? Did it happen? And can it exist with a strong enough wind? Yes. But it was the worst, disgusting logic. It was not logic. It was so confirmed biased. It was disgusting. That all being said, there is very much true science versus the rest of the world. And there is this huge schism that's occurring. And what I walked away from this video with was a full comprehension that there are a lot of people who are fighting, and I'm one of them. I am like solid on, if you're not giving me science, then shut the fuck up. And this is where I very much am on the anti-psychologist, anti-psychology run because of the amount of dangerously ignorant bullshit that's happening. I am absolutely opposed to the self-proclaimed educators who don't know a goddamn fucking thing about education. And then there's the false scientists. There's a lot of faults happening right now. And basically, you've got variables, you've got ill-defined, and you have constants on the other side. You have constants, you have definition, and you have hardcore science. And by hardcore, I mean they are using scientific method. And it's almost at a point where there are people who are scientists with degrees who are full of shit and they're not using any of the constants, defined self. They're not true scientists. You have psychologists who fall into the category of not true science. They're imposters. I'm just going to call them dangerous imposters. Bottom line, there's been multiple comments made, and this is one of them. If you look at the video, one of the things said is the irresponsibility of passing on ill-conceived or incorrect information. It's fucking dangerous. We see this with the lie, the unproven garbage fallacy and bullshit that vaccines cause autism. That man was disbarred. He had his license removed. He was not disbarred. He was delicensed. He had his license removed, and he was removed from ever practicing medicine again because the amount of vast, egregious misinformation was toxic to society. And that is it really. I am in the area of, I have a high school diploma and I am a true scientist because I am a constant. I use definition from linguistics, from Latin, from etymology. I use scientific method. I use logic. I use hardcore science to prove my fucking shit. So I am in the school of true science. And you've got the falsehoods over there where you've got a lot of people who claim all of this bullshit, and they are dangerous imposters. And one of the big things that a lot of us are not talking about is because of this schism and because of this massive divide, in addition to that, we are seeing this massive imposters, and the dangerous imposters are over there with Wonderland, and you've got the true science over here. And it's definitely breaking and creating this massive divide. And a lot of people are choosing sides, that they're either heading over toward true science, because that's really all you've got now is all the lies are coming down, coming down. All the lies are coming down, and it's revealing this massive, the emperor is naked. The emperor is naked. And there's people who are desperately clinging to all of the lies and their naked emperor, while people are jumping ship going, just give me fact, just show me proof. And if you're not dishing out the fact and the proof, you're going to go down with the ship. And it's like watching rats cling to every little thing they can. And there's this beautiful solid vessel now with science as the keel. And it's formidable. It's fucking solid because it is withstanding, because truth is balanced, constant. Truth is a constant. That's what truth is. It is balanced and aligned, constant. That's what truth is. And if you are built on something that is not truth, balanced and aligned, constant, you're going to go down. And our entire logical truth, our core, what did she say the words? Our social and medical intervention, our current narrative is stuffed with a bunch of straw. It is founded on religion and lies, fear, deception, abuse, and a bunch of dangerous imposters with falsehoods. And the only thing that really is coming out and showing you a different world, not just a different world, but it's so solidly founded on truth, balanced equilibrium, and a constant, is now science. And I'm huge with this, where I'm going, sorry, logic, math, physics for the win, because they are the only constants. Because while everyone's arguing over who the right God is, logic, math, and physics are constant and not changing. And that really fucking matters right now. That really fucking matters. And as wars are going on, and as people are arguing over assigned gender and what should or shouldn't be done for a child's mental health, and the amount of fear, racism, prejudice, and absolute tradition-saturated choices that are at this point barbaric, it's only a matter of time before the rest of it just falls down. And it's absolutely falling apart. The more something is stable, the less it rocks. And it doesn't teeter between the 30 spectrums of indulge, avoid, and integrated balance. You have balance and equilibrium when you safely toggle between these three positions. But when you try and build up an entire stool on just two legs, it's going to fall over. And with their black and white extreme thinking, they've only got two legs to stand on, but they're on a three-legged stool. And their balancing skills are fucking terrible. So they're going to fall down. They're falling down right now, which is why the pendulum is swinging so drastically from indulge to scarcity to indulge, it's binge and purge, because they're desperately trying to keep afloat, which is why we see inflation and then regression, which is why we see constant back and forth. And it's because they are literally on a spinning top that is spiraling out of control. And they are really desperately clinging to anything that they can possibly get their hands on to keep themselves afloat. And in the meantime, there is this true science that is emerging, that is just solid logic, math, physics. And if you can't prove it, if you can't build it, if you can't stand on it, they don't want it. And all of the delusion that they have built in their world is just coming down. It's extraordinary to watch it all just, and it really is creating a massive divide. That being said, this concept of building the plane as you're flying it, I am writing the theory of love right now. And it's literally all of human psychology in a nutshell. And I hate using the word psychology because psychology is fucking garbage. I love to use instead ontology. And I realized yesterday that when you have two frequencies that are incompatible with each other, they resonate against each other, creating an out of phase signal. And if you know anything about frequency, you know that that only lasts a certain period of time before what you are resonating against will shatter. And that the human mind revolves and runs on energy and frequency because physics says so, and Einstein and Tesla say so, that everything is physics, that everything is energy. And energy and frequency very much are part of the human mind and the human condition, of which psychologists know nothing about. And that when you have your own choices, when you have your own logical truth, what you really have in that logical truth is your own energy and your own frequency. This has been proven by science. We run on a frequency that starts on 9 hertz. The most common is 12 hertz, which is the fourth ethical perspective. And the higher your ethical perspectives are, the higher your frequency goes. So that if you are supposed to be running at a 16 hertz, but your parents are forcing you to live at a 9 hertz, you're going to feel that. We call that in physics out of phase signals. And now you have two frequencies that are inconsistently hitting each other. The weaker frequency always submits to the stronger frequency. That's how frequencies work. And there are 3 stages in which this occurs. There is the resistance stage, and then there is the integration stage, and then after that, there is the submission stage. I will be blunt. If you have a mental illness, you are in the submission stage. That is exactly what mental illness is. It is your submission to the higher and stronger frequency. The integration is when you have borderline personality disorder and you are toggling with masks between 2 separate frequencies. It's highly painful. It causes disorganized attachment style, and you literally have multiple personalities or multiple lives or multiple lives or multiple masks, and worlds cannot collide because you live separately and divided. The first stage is resistance, when you resist the frequency. Now, either you will resist any input to your own to preserve the invasive frequency, or you will resist the incoming information that causes the cognitive dissonance or the cognitive harmony inside of you that is the invasive frequency. We cannot live with more than one frequency inside of our system. We are a self system. A self system runs on its own frequency. And if your frequency is compromised with an invasive frequency, you're going to be in fucking pain. Understanding how frequency works in physics is the core to literally finding balanced health and being able to remove the other frequencies. This is all I do, is literally frequency inside of the mind and energy inside of the mind, so that you can separate, remove, condense, and eliminate the invasive frequencies inside of your mind. So that this concept of building a plane while it's flying is unnecessary. Unfucking necessary. Because the plane's already built. It's called math, logic, and physics. So it's really you've got your 2 ships. You've got the ship that they decided to release and build, not in dry dock, but out at sea. So they are literally trying to build a ship at sea. And there's also math, logic, and physics, which is currently solid, stable, and it's fine. And they are actually living completely unaffected by the chaos because they got math, logic, and physics, which is a constant. And this is amazing. Well, the rest of the world is falling down, and religion is chaos right now, and wars are expanding and blowing up the world. This is my favorite part. Science is just making new discoveries and going along and expanding the world, going, look, we have a new discovery. Look, we have a new discovery, because they are making progress, which means they are flourishing, which means, because of the laws of physics, and it says so, when you have a stable foundational mothership, you now have everything you need to flourish, to make progress. Progress is, because everything has an equal and opposite reaction, progress is the consequence of a stable foundation. So if you're not making progress, you don't have a stable foundation. So while religion is falling down, while war and politics and finances are blowing up and just literally collapsing in on itself, while the field of human psychology is a fucking nightmare, along with education, yeah, that's because they're not stable, because they're not constants, because they're not based off of logic, math, or physics. So they're falling down. I am currently building an entire educational program 100% on the backbone of math, logic, and physics. That was, well, it's my education that I got from Plato during La Academia and all through the Library of Alexandria, because they knew what they were talking about when it comes to learning and fucking education. So that's where I got my education, was Plato, because he knew what the fuck he was talking about, because he based it off of logic, math, and physics. The current educational system is not built on logic, math, and physics. It is built on business and unethical business practices at that, and profits. That's what it is based upon. So the education system is collapsing in on itself, which is why everyone's arguing over what's wrong with the world. It's because no one knows, because no one's educated on the matter. Well, it's education. Because if everyone were educated, then everyone would know what was the problem and everyone could problem solve it and figure it out. But because the education is so horrible, people can't figure it out because they can't problem solve because they're not educated. Therefore, the problem is education. Really fucking awesome, isn't that? So once you learn how to problem solve, you can realize that education is the problem. And because educators are in charge of everything, you can see the chaos that's unfolding. You know, we have front row seats to the demise of Wonderland. Compliments of the educators who think they know everything when they in fact know nothing. Did I mention dangerously ignorant? So we really do have this beautiful schism right now where we've got the ship of math, logic, physics that is providing a constant, and to prove it, they are making progress in their fields and they are advancing while the rest of the world is sinking. And it's really I'm understanding more and more that some psychologists, some educators, the ones who use true science, actually have legitimacy to them. But they've got to be sorting out from the imposters. And it's when a person puts a focus on preserving what they have. The reason why you are putting such a focus and energy into preserving is because it is not self-sustaining. If you have to work to preserve, you've created something that is not self-sustaining, which means it shouldn't be existing anyway. And when something is self-sustaining, like math and logic and physics, that needs no preservation. It is self-sustaining. So it will flourish and make progress naturally because it is not a bastard to nature. Isn't that amazing? I love Mother Nature has such a gorgeous way of vengeance. It's not really vengeance. It's just don't fuck with her equilibrium. And if you are not math, logic, and physics based, you're fucking with her equilibrium because Mother Nature is only ever about balanced equilibrium. And she will take it out of your fucking ass if you don't. That's what mental illness is. You haven't balanced your equilibrium, so she's taking it out of your fucking ass. Yeah, she really doesn't like it when people fuck with her energy. So it's really self-preservation, the urgency and the need to self-preserve. Anyone who goes around spouting their religion with vehemence because if they don't, it'll fall apart, that's a clue. Anyone who goes around having to constantly defend themselves, it's because it lacks self-sustenance. It's self-sustenance. That's why. It's like a huge red flag of if they're just sitting back and they're relaxing and they're just going, there it is. It's all on its own and it's generating its own nourishment. It's good. You know it's solid. You know it's making progress. And it's just one of those things that take a step back, look at the world, and assess who's running around right now justifying and doing self-preservation and who's actually making progress. Because right now we live in a world that only the constant true sciences, only the constant logic, math, physics, only the real fucking shit is making progress right now. And if it's not making progress, it's because it is in self-preservation mode because the ship is going down. So really look for it. It's a wonderful metric to determine if something is legit or not. People who have their lives together, they're progressing right now. They are absolutely going forward. People who are in self-preservation mode, they're scrambling because their lies were built on a bunch of bullshit. And if your lies were built on bullshit, if your lives were built on self-preservation where you're constantly having to defend, yeah, it's because you have a shitty foundation and the foundation is being knocked out from under you. Bottom line, a system is built off of a defined reality. I'm going to say that again. All systems, if you study sociology, you'll know this. All systems are built on a defined reality. They gave you an ill-defined and improper reality. So the system is failing. Ontologist. Realists walk around contradicting postmodernists. Postmodernist, actually, I'm all of them integrated because I believe that you need all of them integrated. But realists deny everything except their own reality. And our entire system is built on a defined reality. The defined reality is not steeped in Mother Nature. It actually contradicts the equilibrium, and it also is not built on constants like math, logic, and physics, so it's falling. Our defined reality that is holding up the entire fucking system right now is falling apart. And there's a lot of people who are fucking terrified. That's why the schism is taking place. That's why a lot of people are panicking. It's because they're going, what the fuck is going on with the world? Well, the system that you live in was built on a defined reality that does not apply to Mother Nature. And Mother Nature's really fucking strong. Yeah, the system decided to take on Mother Nature. Oh, and she's winning. And the only one who really seems to have figured this out, because they're flourishing and making progress, is science. Because, science is the true God. Oh, wait. Where's my Zarathustra book? Yeah, so God is dead. Because, science is what's progressing right now. And the system that was built on a defined reality is falling down because the defined reality that gives the system foundation is bullshit. So we're going to see this massive, this is my vision, this is my prediction, this is what I saw 2 years ago, this is what I've been looking for and like building my life toward, because I saw this and I went, oh yeah. So basically everyone is either going to choose sides. And there's going to be people who immediately jump to the science because, oh, that's constant, that's stable, that's progressing. And all the religious people who resist science are going to desperately cling to their illusion. And their illusion is currently falling apart because it is the soft foundation. They built their crap on sand. Christ warned them about this. And their defined reality is falling down. So it is quite ironic that Christ warned them about this. He also warned them that his truest of followers would also be the ones who are the fakest followers, and they will be actually false followers. Really interesting that he also warned them about that as well. Interesting. So anyway, there is a schism, there is a divide, and just it really is this beautiful self-preservation versus progress, because when shit hits the fan and you're scrambling to save your shit, well, you didn't plan appropriately. The tide has come in and your house is falling down. But if you built it on something stable and solid that's independent from the defined reality of the system, you're fine and you're making progress. It's a beautiful metric. Take a look at your life. Are you progressing? Are you in self-preservation mode? Are you defensive and angry because your entire system is falling down because you defined it based off of reality that's not true? Now, a philosopher, ontologist will ask the question, well, then what reality is the right reality? Well, that one would be based off of truth. And truth is defined. I just said it here, actually. Truth is defined as balanced constants. Balanced constant. In mathematics, we say it. Every time we say, is the statement true? We are actually weighing in the balance of the statement. We are looking at the equal sign between the parts of the equation going, okay, is this true? Is it balanced? Is it a constant? And if it is, we say it's true. Same thing in law, same thing in everything. We are just weighing in the scales to determine if the equilibrium is balanced and constant. Truth is a balanced and constant equilibrium, which Mother Nature runs off of. And that's really it. Mother Nature has her own frequency. And if you are not tuned into her frequency, well, all mental illness and everything is basically the compatibility of two frequencies. We call that out-of-phase frequency, out-of-phase signals. And the stronger of the frequencies will win. Mother Nature's frequency is really fucking strong. And that is what we are. That is what is wrong with the world today, is this unstable. The system was built on this defined reality. The defined reality is the weaker frequency in comparison to Mother Nature. And Mother Nature's frequency is finally shattering it apart. It took 2,000 years. Literally, it took 2,000 years, but it finally took place. So we are at the end of Mother Nature's frequency rattling the shit out of the foundation of the system that our defined reality is built on. And all the lies are coming down. So a lot of people are panicking because their delusions and their concept of reality is dependent upon their delusions. Jump ship, change reality. You're going to have to change reality to survive. If you've already switched reality, you're fine. You're fine if your reality is based off of the balanced constant equilibrium that is Mother Nature and science, because Mother Nature is logic and physics and math. But if you are not tuned into science, math, logic, physics, Mother Nature, she's going to rip you apart. She's absolutely going to rip you apart, because a lot of people cling to the defined reality of a system that is built on bullshit, unethics, and lies. By the way, something that is unethical also contradicts Mother Nature because of the 12 ethical stages of growth, which is also the natural evolution of the mind and the natural order of things. It's beautiful how she just gets her way. I love Mother Nature. Thank you so much for your time, and may the kindest of words always find you.